Guys, we're open back up, so we're going to jump around a little bit like I stated before the break, and we're going to be doing the disenrollment stuff right now. So we have Julie Salo here to present on that stuff, so whenever you're ready, Julie.
Good afternoon. We have 3 disenrollments. The first one is Lucy Rappett. Lucy's file was reviewed and found that she was enrolled through her adopted father. He did, when he filled out his application, he did mark that that wasn't his biological child, so that error is on our office. I did go ahead and research her biological family and did not find any connection. So her file was then taken to the Special Needs Enrollment Committee on November 14th, and they voted to recommend that she be disenrolled. The next one is Kimberly Bozanek. Kimberly's file was reviewed, and just like the last one, she was found to be enrolled through her adopted parent. Neither of her biological parents are traceable to the Sioux tribe either. We took her to the committee on November 14th as well, and the committee voted to disenroll her as well. The third one is Wikipedia Sky. Now, she's duly enrolled. She's with Sioux Tribe and the Standing Rock Sioux Indian Tribe. We have been asking her for 2 years to choose which tribe she wants to stay with, and she will not fill out a relinquishment form for either one. So we took her to the committee again on November 14th, and the committee is recommending disenrollment for her as well.
Okay, any questions or comments on any of these? Aaron?
I know the answer to this, but they were notified of today, and they could have came today.
Yes, and, well, they might come later tonight. We haven't heard from any of them.
Okay.
I would think they're not coming, but we have not heard from them. We do send out a certified letter. They did sign for them. They do know about it.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, thank you, Julie. Appreciate
Thanks.
it. All right, so let's jump back into our executive reports, which I believe would be closed. We have Bob's report, then we have Jess's. Who wants to go first? Okay, Jess. So those of you guys on Zoom, Wendy is passing around the physical copy of the transportation plan. She doesn't have enough for everyone. She didn't want to chop down an entire forest, but we are getting an electronic version of it if we haven't already. So if you guys want one of the paper hard copies, let me know and you can have mine and Lana's. So, yeah.
Thank you, Wendy.
You got to use your microphone.
If you have a PowerPoint presentation, prepared, just pull it up. Yeah. we'll
Okay.
take a look at it.
Did everybody see Kim Hampton's email? An email with questions on stuff tonight. Make sure you guys see it.
So before we start the meeting, what's supposed to be the Hey, Wendy, whenever you're ready.
Just pulling it up right now.
Don't worry, I'm reading it for you.
You don't want distracted. A little bit of rabbit brain going on.
Should I email this to you, Lana?
If you're already on the thing, you can share screen or I can do it for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, which one?
share screen.
Then email it to me. And then I'll email it to everybody else.
I think the document's too large. Oh, no, there it is. Got it.
Okay, Wendy, why don't we just go through it? And then we can
Okay.
keep trying to send it
Yeah,
electronically later.
I apologize.
No, don't apologize. It's fine.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I apologize for this. It's kind of put me on a,
No, you can save it as a PDF, and that will, if it's in a PowerPoint, that's just. I think he just has to go ahead and go through it.
yeah. So I'll just do that. Yeah, this just keeps. So we're just going to stop with this. I think that's the best course of action.
Okay.
And I apologize. My thing just keeps saying that it's thinking. So I think that the documents are too large, and I
It's
apologize
okay.
for
Just
that.
walk us through the plan.
Yeah, so I'm back today. This is 30 days after the initial presentation with, for the Transportation Improvement Plan. That was a critical item that we needed to, that I needed to share today. So in front of you all, I have the large printout, and with that, you'll see that for 2025, we have our construction projects coded blue. You'll see there's Odenang, Tribal Trails, and that includes Hessel, Big Bear, and St. Ignace Waterfront Trail. We'll also be doing the deck of the 10th Street Bridge. We're going to be partnering with facilities with the Natural Resources facility on 3 Mile, and then also partnering with Housing for Savard property in St. Ignace. And then we also have the 3 Mile Street Light Project. Those will be constructed next year. Then we also have the next phase list of projects. You'll see those are color-coded pink, and these will be in the pre-design NEPA, wetlands, right-of-way planning and design phase. You'll see that we have Escanaba, the St. Ignace Dock and Marina, the ARC facility, Manistee Access Road, US 2. We have the development zone and Epiphet Harbor. On page number 3, you'll see that these are the RAISE projects. These have to be included in our TIP for it to be allowable for us to work on them. We have the 3 Mile Road, Shunk Road, 10th, 15th, Marquette, Casino Ring Road, a transportation facility, Ice Circle Drive, the trailhead with the connectors, and the nature preserve with the raised boardwalk. And we'll be partnering with Robin Clark and her staff on that. So these are, the raised grant portfolio of projects is yellow. The color is yellow. And for next year, we, per our agreement with Federal Highways, will focus on, we need to complete all of the permitting, all the wetlands mitigation and planning next year. Each item and each task within these projects will have that finished during 2025. So that's where you see there the pre-design phase. Below that are some listed cooperative agreements. And then we get to the next year is 2026, and you'll see that each project will phase into the next phase. And what I mean by that is, you'll see that we start off with construction in blue, and we have the Escanaba project. 2025 it's designed, 2026 it'll be constructed. And then we have the lists of constructed projects, and then we move on to design. And then we move on to the raise projects. And you'll see that those are separated into a phase 1 and phase 2. Those are also in the federal agreement with the for highways. So you'll see that phase 1 will be 3 Mile Shunk and the proposed transportation facility. Phase 2 design, and during that time of, these are all consecutive. So phase 2 will be moving forward with Ice Circle Drive, the trailhead, and we'll be doing design on those. So I don't want to repeat each page. I just wanted to go over the flow of the projects, because I know we have some new board members on. I apologize, I don't have my PowerPoint, but I'll make sure that everyone gets that in PDF.
All right, I appreciate it, Wendy. Any questions, comments regarding the plan? We went over the big ticket items on it. Okay, I appreciate it, Wendy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kim?
I have a question, but not on the plan.
Okay.
It's on transportation. What's going on over at JKL with the road closures? Is that part of transportation?
No.
It's right next to the school. What avenue is that?
There's 8th, but that's north-south.
Yeah.
10th is east and west and goes behind the school.
Yeah, it's the one as soon as you pass the school heading that way. It's closed. When you look up in there, it's all closed off.
Doing utilities to the storage facility.
Oh, that's just electricity?
And I'm assuming gas, whatever utilities, but I think it's mainly electric.
Okay. And let me see.
Yeah, other than the closures for, general maintenance or construction work, it has to be kept open. I mean, it's a public road.
Okay, because I went by yesterday, I think it was, and it was closed off, so I was just wondering what was going on, if you knew or,
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I can follow up, though.
Okay.
Because it is a BIA.
I was just going to
Right
say, I
of way.
think it's a BIA right of way,
It is a
right?
BIA right-of-way, so, yeah.
If you could do that and just send us a
An
email.
update. Yeah,
All right, thank
for
you.
sure.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, thank you, Wendy. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
All right, guys, let's jump into agenda review, and what an agenda we have. We have over 50 items on the agenda today, 55 resolutions, and then multiple items under new business. So we also have a storm coming in today with up to 16 inches in this area. We have a lot of board members that live in different areas of the eastern Upper Peninsula, and we have different staff as well, and we have a pile of you guys here today. So I have a request from the board just to speed things up. Number one, I'm not going to read every item on the agenda when we do agenda review. I'm just simply going to say, I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the agenda that was noticed to the membership. That will save time. We don't need to do roll call. We can approve things via consent unless roll call is requested. That will save up time as well. I'm proposing that we couple some of the resolutions. Those would be the liquor license resolutions, the trust land resolutions, and the interagency agreements as well. And then waive the readings as well, unless you want to have Kim Hampton read about 50-some resolutions tonight. So any objections on those things? We can power through this, get out of here on time?
On waiving the reading, guys.
I didn't hear her. We couldn't hear you, Kim.
I said, I better not hear any objections on waiving the reading.
I didn't see a single hand go up, so that's how we'll handle things today, and then we'll power through it. So let me dig up my notes and we'll do agenda review. Okay, first up would be Joni. Is Joni or someone from housing available? Oh, sorry, Joni, I didn't see you, sorry. All right, Joni, so we're going to tackle all yours while you're up here. We'll start with sanitation, though.
Okay, so what that does is the tribe received an additional $300,000 in funding, and that establishes a budget for that funding.
Okay, appreciate it. Questions, comments from the board? Okay, we'll move on to your next resolution, which would be, let me try to find it here.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder for anybody who's watching this, this is the second or third time this board has reviewed these resolutions. So if you don't hear questions like right now, it's not that we aren't paying attention or we haven't gone through it in depth already, because usually it gets 2 or 3 reviews before it even gets to the board table, so.
Good point, Aaron. So again, we've workshopped these different resolutions multiple times, so that's usually why you don't hear questions, because they've already been asked once or twice, so. All right, so it looks like your next resolution, Joni, is approving interagency agreement with Sioux Tribe Housing Authority for Unit 1 ARPA housing.
Okay, so what this resolution does is it reallocates a portion of the Unit 1 ARPA funding, and it adds $2 million to a current grant, a competitive grant that the Housing Authority received for $6 million. And so we will be able to build additional units in the single-person apartment complex.
Okay, questions, comments regarding this? So we can move on to your next resolution then, which is approving interagency agreement with Sioux Tribe Housing Authority for Unit 1 ARPA trailers and new construction.
So what this does is it does an interagency agreement. The project is not complete yet, and so we want to make sure that there's funding to carry over if we need to.
Okay, any questions or comments on this? Okay, hearing none, let's move on to your next resolution, which would be amending interagency agreement with Sioux Tribe Housing Authority for Utility Authority ARPA funding.
What this resolution does is we were allocated $1.8 million for the utility authority. And the first interagency agreement left off about $40,000 that was going to go for operational expenses. And after consulting with the CFO and others, it was best to have one interagency agreement for the full amount of $1.8 million.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments here? Hearing none, we can move on to the next resolution, which is amend interagency agreement with Sioux Tribe Housing Authority for Unit 3 ARPA housing.
What this resolution will do is the original amount of the interagency agreement was not correct. There's an additional amount of funding, and this just adds that additional amount of funding to the interagency agreement.
Okay, questions, comments here? Hearing none, let's move on to amend interagency agreement with Sioux Tribe Housing Authority for Unit 5 ARPA housing.
What this resolution does, it captures the full $2 million that is allocated for Unit 5 ARPA housing projects, and so that is the amendment.
Okay, any questions or comments here? Joni, I'm not seeing any. Did I miss any?
I don't think so, but I left them over there.
All right, appreciate it, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, who's covering for health?
Joel. you
Joel?
don't mind.
Okay. Joel, we're going to start with Health Division Mental Health Counseling, establishment of FY 2025 budget.
Okay, afternoon, everyone. Joel Lumsden, Assistant Health Director. The first one is mental health counseling, establishing a fiscal year 24 budget. And I have Melinda on for any technical questions. I know you guys workshopped this earlier, I think last week, so.
Okay, any questions, comments on this? Okay, hearing none, we can move on to Health Division, Sioux Tribe Opiate Response Grant, establishment of FY25 budget.
Again, just to establish the fiscal year 25 budget for the Sioux Tribe opiate response grant.
Okay, any questions, comments? Hearing none, let's move on to Health Division, Sioux Tribe Opioid Response Grant, establishment of FY 2025 budget. Did I do that one? Okay, let's do Family Spirit then. And cross
Okay,
it
Family
off.
Spirit, again, it's going to sound like a broken record, establish a 2025 budget for fiscal year 2025 for the Family Spirit grant.
Okay, questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, let's move on to perinatal opioid use establishment of FY 2025 budget.
Again, just to establish the fiscal year 25 budget for the perinatal program.
Okay, questions, comments? Hearing none, let's cover Road to Wellness Grant establishment of FY 25 budget.
Road to Wellness grant to establish the fiscal year 2025 budget cycle for this program.
Okay, questions or comments here? Okay, hearing none, let's move on to Human Resources establishment of FY 2025 budget.
The purpose of this resolution is to allow the Health Division to establish a human resource department specific to health for fiscal year 2025.
This is one of Bluestone's recommendations, Joel?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Mr.
questions, comments? Okay, let me look ahead, see if you have any out of order, Joel. Just one second. Am I missing anything, Joel? Is that all you guys have for tonight?
No, I think that's all we have.
Okay.
Here to vote.
Okay, I appreciate it. See you guys at 5.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Wendy, you want to come up? Okay, first one up is the tip, which we just workshopped again. Any questions, comments here? Okay, so we'll move on from that. And Wendy, Mackinac County Cooperative Agreement. Could you explain that?
Yes, this resolution, if approved, will allow us to execute an agreement with the Mackinac County Road Commission for services in Mackinac County. That'd be St. Ignace and Hessel. And this is to alleviate any safety issues on the roadways, getting to our housing sites.
Okay, any questions, comments on this? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, National Scenic Byways Program.
Yes, this resolution is asking for approval to draft and submit a grant for a tribal scenic byways program.
Okay, any questions or comments for Wendy on this? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the last one that I see for you, which is U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, Tribal Transportation Program Safety Funds.
Yes, this resolution is requesting approval to write and submit this grant through the USDA Federal Highways for safety funds. It's set aside for tribes, and we will focus on updating our plan, our transportation safety plan.
Okay, any questions here? Comments? Okay, am I missing any, Wendy, or is that it for you tonight?
No, I think that's it.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, yep.
All right, Helen? So Helen's going to be covering the next 3 resolutions, which are all trust land lease related. So the first one would be trust land lease cancellation.
Ani Helen Wilkins, Real Estate Manager for Sioux Tribe. The first trust land lease is a cancellation. Mr. Dill passed away, and his family is selling the home. And they have a buyer for it already, and this is just one of the steps that have to be taken to allow that buyer to be able to purchase the home.
Okay, questions or comments? Okay, so let's move on to the next one then, Helen, which would be trust land lease.
Yes, so
Can't
this,
pronounce that next word, so.
so this is the
Pinawanakwa.
trust land lease for Yvette Pitawanakwa. And I hope I said that right. So this is the person that wants to buy this property. She works for the Sioux Tribe, and she qualifies to have a lease through us, and that would be the next step for her to buy the house.
Very good. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to trust land lease, Bosley Christopher L.
Yes, so this is another trust land lease out in Kinross. This is for Mr. Bosley to have the trust land lease on a home, at a home that definitely needs major repairs. And he's very aware of how that would work and what he needs to do. So he's very willing to take over a land lease.
Okay, any questions here? All right, thanks, Alan, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Goodrow.
Hello, Doug Goodrow, Insurance Director for the Sioux Tribe. My resolution is to custom tailor, to obtain a customer-tailored incident report and case management system to replace our antiquated current system. The funding will be coming from ARPA dollars. We've been researching this for probably 4 to 5 years. I've got the backing of the Gaming Commission because they want to get rid of their current system. That's about it, unless anybody has any questions.
Any questions or comments on this for Doug? Okay, thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mike McCoy. All right, so Mike is going to be covering 3 resolutions for us. The first one is approving contract, Corey Johnson Levitt.
Yes, Mike McCoy, Legislative Director, Sault Ste. Marie Tribe Chippewa Indians, 3 contracts. The first one is to approve the Corey Johnson Levitt contract for our state lobbyists. The second one is approving the contract for Michelle Castine, our policy analyst. And the third one is approving a contract for the Snoski Chambers, our federal lobbyist. Now, I will point out that we propose a 10% increase on the 2 lobbyist contracts because they've done an excellent job. And it's a great team. They know us well, Snoski Chambers and Corey Levitz. They just walked us through the appropriations process for $1.25 million for the Lodge of Hope.
For the homeless shelter. I would support the increase. You know, Aaron, you know, the chair's office obviously works pretty closely with the different lobbyists, and they've done a great job, in my opinion. So, Aaron?
Also, I will say that they were very successful a couple years ago with getting full funding for the Michigan Indian tuition waiver, and that was huge. So they're very, that's Corey et al., very successful.
Yes.
Okay, anyone else? Questions, comments on any of these 3? Okay, thank you, Mike, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Letitia.
Good afternoon, Letitia Willett, Land and Tax Administrator. I have the next 10 resolutions. They are the tribal liquor license, 2 for the Midgems, 5 for the Quinn Casinos, 1 for White Pine Lodge, and then the Tanglewood and Bear on the Mountain. Just standard every year liquor license.
Does anyone have any questions on any of these 10 resolutions or standard? All right, appreciate it. See you at 5.
Thank you.
Okay, next resolution, let's skip this one. We're going to skip the comp study stuff for tonight. Needs more work. There, how about that? All right, so next one we're going to talk about is approving interagency agreement with Natural Resources for new Natural Resource Department facility.
All right, so this resolution would approve this interagency agreement that would allow us to still move forward on the new construction of a natural resource division facility at 3 Mile. The plans went out for bid, and the one and only bid came back way over. It's like $1.5 million over, so we're taking a step back, and UP Engineers and Architects is working with the bidder to see if we can have a more economical scale back the scope and fit within the budget.
Okay, appreciate that. Isaac?
Hey, can you make sure they value engineer it? And then that'll probably give you a lot of cost savings. Also, the other thing is I wouldn't drag my feet too long. I'd rebid it right now. This is the best time to bid because people are looking for projects for the upcoming construction season, so.
Okay. We're hoping to hear back on those conversations with Nomad today.
Anyone else? All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, Andrew Lane. Hey, Bob, you know where Andrew's at? Can you check on him? And then Bob, once you're done, text him if you come on up, cover your resolutions. Appreciate it. So the first one, Bob, would be amending resolutions 2023-103, 2022-141, and 2022-143.
Yes, the first resolution is to amend some previous resolutions. In order to correct the expenses, it went past you. You have to wait now.
Speak of the devil, eh?
I just snapped my fingers and he showed up. Give me 1 second, I'll be done, Andrew. To amend the resolutions in order to do a final reconciliation on the cost for the Unit 4 ARPA projects.
Appreciate it. Questions, comments? All right, thanks, Bob. Andrew, why don't you come on up? We'll get things back in order. All right, Andrew, agenda review. If you could cover approving interagency agreement with facilities management for elder facilities enhancements. And I believe this is Unit 1, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so let me find that one. All right, so we're looking to enter into it. We're amending a couple of resolutions to reallocate. That wasn't the one. I have quite a few. There it is. To allocate some funds for some upgrades to the building. We're looking to remodel the restrooms, some other offices in there, also repainting the exterior of it. And I think that's it for that. It's
Okay.
$400,000.
Questions or comments on this? Let's spruce up Unit 1's Elder Center. Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to the next resolution, which is approving interagency agreement with facilities management for cemetery enhancements.
Same thing, we're looking at upgrading some fixtures at the powwow grounds, building a shower house, upgrading electrical. I do believe there's some upgrades that were discussed on constructing a restroom at the cemetery. And yeah, that's that one.
So basically what this does is it uses the leftover funds in the resolution that authorized the 2 land purchases on Sugar Island, use those leftover funds to put those upgrades in the Sugar Island powwow, and then put some upgrades in the Wilwalk Cemetery. Questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next resolution, which is approving interagency agreement with facilities management for Hessel Community Center.
Yeah, this would be amending Resolution 2024-52 that allocated $3.424 million for the construction of the Hessel Community Center. They're going to be reallocating funds from 2022-154 for housing, and they're reallocating $906,680 to the community center. So it'll bring up the total to $4,333,680.57.
Okay, any questions, comments here? Okay, hearing none, we can move on to the next, which is approving interagency agreement with facilities management for Marquette Community Center.
Yeah, so this one is just allocating an addition, well, 2024 is 310, allocated 800,000. We've allocated via contract everything except for $125,272.14. We do anticipate spending all of it, but we're still waiting on a couple of other purchases for it, so we just allocating that fund.
Okay, any questions or comments here? Okay, thank you, Andrew, appreciate it.
No problem.
Hey, Bobby, you want to come back up? All right, so we are on amending unspent ARPA funds from resolutions 2024-46 and 2021-167.
Yes, this is a resolution when we had the membership assistance program under the ARPA funding. We had a fraud item come up last year for $700 in order to reconcile it and move it over to revenue replacement. It'll be a reconciling item for the membership assistance account in the total $700.
Okay, any questions, comments here? So, all right, Bob, let's move on to the next resolution, which is unallocate, unspent, and reappropriate ARPA funds from resolution 2022-188.
Yes, this is a resolution. Originally, we had allocated $3 million for facility parking lots through previous resolutions. This will return $894,819 back to the unobligated pool. It wasn't spent for the original intended purpose.
Okay, any questions, comments here? Hearing none, we'll move on to amending and reappropriating ARPA funds from resolution 2023-250.
Yes, this is a resolution. Previously, the board has approved $2.8 million in HVAC repairs for the Big Bear. This will reallocate some of the previously approved ARPA funding and transfer it over to the Big Bear project so we can pay for that project.
Okay, questions, comments on this? Hearing none, let's move on to amending resolution 2024-255.
Yes, finally, this is a resolution to transfer $8 million of the ARPA revenue replacement funds towards a casino. It was originally resolved on 2024-255. What we're going to do is transfer it, treat it as regular ARPA funds, and then move that $8 million back into the revenue replacement pool.
Thank you, Bob. Any questions, comments? Thank you, appreciate it. Danny Doyle. So Danny's going to be covering the next handful of resolutions. Let's start off with LATCF fund appropriations, Sioux Tribe EDC, Demwating Development, and Sawyer Village.
All right, good afternoon. I have 5 resolutions to cover with the board today. The first resolution is authorizing appropriation of LATCF funds for the multiple fair market, market-based rentals that we discussed in detail in closed session.
Okay, any questions or comments on this? Hearing none, let's move on to allocate loom lease revenue and rescind resolution 2018-97.
Yes, this resolution will be requesting to rescind resolution 201897, which allocated Sawyer Village funds to purchase a CD at Central Savings. This resolution will also allocate revenue from the loan leases to replace those funds. Those funds are what are used for the collateral for the Gitche floor plan.
Any questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, let's move on to approving First Amendment to Selco, DABA, Verizon Wireless Land Lease Agreement.
Yes, this is a land lease agreement here, the request to extend it. This is for the cell tower on 10th.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, let's move on to authorizing Gitche Auto, Home, and RV to open additional bank accounts at Central Savings Bank.
Yes, this resolution is seeking authorization to open an additional bank account at Central Savings Bank. That is going to be solely for the purpose of ACH. We are currently using one auction house, that is Claire. We wish to use West Michigan Auto Auction. They do not accept wire transfers, they transact in ACH. So this is just a layer of control. Instead of authorizing them to take out money out of the main account anytime, we authorize them to take money out of this account. When we purchase vehicles, we move money into that account. They ACH it at the end of the day. So it's common practice for many institutions, ACH. This just adds that layer of control.
Okay, appreciate that, Danny. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, let's move on to unanimous written consent of the members of Indian Energy LLC interconnection rights sale.
Okay, yes, this is a request from Indian Energy. They are selling the interconnect, which is basically the rights to an interconnect to a project they had worked on since 2017. They are going to be no longer involved in that project. So they are selling the rights to the interconnect that they have. And they need our permission to do so, as they need unanimous owner consent to make the sale.
Okay, any questions or comments? Go ahead, Aaron.
Unanimous consent meaning we, as a board, have to agree as a board, or unanimous consent from our board?
No, unanimous consent of Indian Energy owners, which would be the authorization from a majority of the board for the chairman to execute.
Okay, because I'll be abstaining.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else? Any issue signing on to this and consenting, Danny?
No.
Okay.
That's an issue.
Okay, appreciate it, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, next up, limited delegation of authority to the chairperson. Aaron, you want to cover this?
Yeah, so in 2012, no, let me back up. In 2010, there was a constitutional amendment to strip the title of CEO from the chairmanship, and it passed, but it allowed for the board to delegate certain duties to the chairperson. And in 2012, the board unanimously delegated those duties to the chairperson. In 2016, the board rescinded that. There currently is not a delegation of authority to the chairperson. There's this general notion that there is kind of like this de facto sort of inherent authority, which doesn't follow any legal basis. So what I'm suggesting is we do the same thing that we did in 2012 and delegate a limited delegation of authority to the chairperson to oversee the administration of the tribe, but also it's with checks and balances with the board and review. So it's not a separation of powers or anything like that. It's still subject to review by the board of directors, and they can rescind it at any time. So I'm just proposing that we do it the same as what we did in 2012.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Okay, hearing none, we can move on to amending resolutions 2024-45. Rob, you sponsored this. You want to speak on it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I believe this is the tax on vapes. Yeah. Could you can you remind us what this resolution is, Rob?
It's a resolution approving the sales of vapes within our entities. That passed, but the amendment had a discrepancy on it that was for gross revenue versus net revenue. Some of our executives flagged it as needing to be corrected. As it stands right now, it would tax the overall revenue instead of just net, which means, let's say they purchased product at $80 and sold it for 180. The entirety of that would be tax versus net revenue. The 80 would be able to be subtracted. There'd be only taxed on the revenue excluding expenses. So this is just a correction, so they don't have to overcharge on products.
So Lana just pulled up that resolution. Lana, you want to speak on it?
It just, I think I mentioned this to you before, Rob, but in the be it further resolved, when you guys originally approved this resolution, you amended it at the time to be 25% of net revenue of all sales to YEA, and then 25% of net revenue of all sales to the land claims fund. So it already does say net revenue. That's, I just want to make sure you all understood that.
So is this necessary with that then?
What we needed to do is legal in there.
So Lana pulled up that resolution, provided clarification that it already states net revenue, with the amendments that were made. So with that said, what further direction is needed?
So I'll speak to that. Well, net revenue can mean revenue less discounts and returns. So it's not cost of goods sold. He used the word gross profit, which would be the most common business vernacular to use. I did raise some concerns at the closed session where it was discussed that this would probably maybe be tabled for discussion at the tax committee. But again, that's the decision of the board. But that's where they were cleaning up the language. So there was no ambiguity there with net revenue versus gross profit.
Okay, thanks, Danny. Who wants to speak on this? Lana?
Well, that's what I was wondering if Dan was going to speak, because yesterday it was flagged and recommended that we don't act on it today. So that's what I was wondering, if it was going to be taken off, sent over to the tax commission.
You guys okay with us taking off the agenda? We only have like 60 of them tonight. All right. Hearing no objection, we'll take it off the agenda tonight then, and then we'll talk about it after the tax commission meeting. Aaron?
Yeah, I do have a comment. So I wasn't on the board when we voted to return vapes to our business plan. So I want to just express my position on it. We have litigated, and we're part of a class action lawsuit against vape companies for the predatory approach that they practice in getting people addicted, specifically with a focus on children. With the types of flavors that they use and the marketing they use with caricatures that use children, that attract young people and teenagers and children. So I don't think it's moral for us to participate in this. But having said that, I also don't support, and I always abstain on liquor licenses. I've never voted for any of our liquor licenses. And I do know that adults can make their own choice, and I don't necessarily oppose them making their own choice, but I don't believe we have to be the pusher. So the only thing I guess I would ask is for this complete turnaround, because we used to have a ban on vapes and something changed. I don't know if it's a composition of the board, and now we're no longer concerned about that, or it's mitigated because we use part of the interest to support youth programming, I guess. So can we at least make sure that we're not selling products that are marketed to young people, that use imagery that attract young people, or that is specifically, because they've got popped for this, for specifically marketing to young people to get them addicted. If you talk to the superintendent of Sault High or any of the schools in the UP, this is a very big problem in the schools with kids sneaking away to vape, and it's very dangerous for their health. So anyway, that's my position, but if it's abstain, I guess I didn't need to say any of that. I mean, if it's tabled.
Okay, we'll take it off the agenda. All right, so.
Thank you.
See where we're at here. All right, so next resolution is establish key employee review. I put that on. I just want to have an annual survey with our key employees to find out how to better manage them. Plain and simple. Questions or comments on that?
Is it going to be similar to what we did earlier today?
We would have to, yeah.
Or can we just throw this out until that one gets rectified and then just vote on it then?
We can add it to the 17th, it's fine, yeah. You guys cool with that? Okay, so we'll handle that one on the 17th. And then the last resolution that we have is requesting technical review from the BIA for constitutional amendments.
Yeah, so I placed this on the agenda to send our 2012 amendments off to the BIA to get a technical review that's free. That way we at least have a starting point instead of getting everything done and then sending it and finding out it's not feasible. So that was my aim with this. Initially, Isaac had asked if he could co-sponsor, so did Larry, but I didn't get the information to Lana in time. I apologize. So I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Okay, questions, comments, Aaron?
I don't have a question. I just have a little bit of a clarification. I know Isaac also co-sponsored, and I snuck in and got a co-sponsor just at the right moment. I do support it, but my hope is that this isn't a step, well, hold on, wait, because legal's got to hear this. This is an automatic step that happens when you submit your language to the Bureau and the Secretary. So I supported this because I support that. I don't think that, and I won't support a step that is asking them basically like for permission ahead of time. I think let's do what we got to do, then submit it. And if that's what the intent is, I support it. But I don't fault you all for putting this on because I do think it needs to be consistent because they won't schedule a secretarial election if the document is not internally consistent, if it doesn't make sense. I think ours is very well carefully drafted, so I don't think there will be any issues. But if it's a simultaneous process when we submit it, I do support it.
Okay, anyone else? Kim? Sorry, Kim, then Lana?
I don't think we need a resolution for this because the BIA has to do this anyways. They got to do the review once you submit your constitutional amendments, and then they recommend suggestions, sometimes just words, a few words or whatever, sometimes bigger things. But yeah, I don't think you need a resolution for this because it's part of their process.
Okay, Lana, then Rob?
Yeah, that was my understanding too, but I'm thinking if we do this, will this quicken the timeline in any way? Could that quicken the timeline if we said do it, we'll send the whole entire thing off now, that way we'll have that step in place?
So number one, if I understand it from Lana, what's attached to this resolution is different than what we're doing Friday. So that's number one.
Because this one, just to be clear, this one's the entire document. Okay, yep, okay.
Correct. So they're different.
And Friday, we're just going to do the three amendments.
I'll be very blunt. If we pass this tonight, my phone's going to ring and I'm going to tell them, why don't you wait a little bit? So you review what this body intends to send out. But to Kim's point, because the Bureau's already called me a few times, they're basically waiting for us to send them something. Whatever we send them, they'll put through the hopper.
Oh.
So there's kind of two ways to go about it, but more importantly, what's attached tonight is not the same thing as what I sent you on email a bit ago and what we're doing Friday. So it depends on your intent.
So we should actually send what we're actually working on right now, and that's the amendments.
Correct.
For a technical review.
Yes.
In order not to confuse the whole process.
Yes, unless you intend to move forward with the full document and not the abbreviated one we're doing Friday. So
Okay.
it comes back to your intent.
Okay, that's clear.
Okay, Rob, then Aaron? Rob?
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask some of the same questions as Lana did because to me, this comes out and I hope it's not with the intent to stall the amendment on the separation of powers, but to me, this comes out, a week before we're working on the separation of powers. Had we pushed through all that, I don't think the Bureau's gonna be looking at two at the same time. And I really don't think there's a high percentage that the entire Constitution passes all at once. There's too many controversial issues in it. There's a lot to be debated by members. There's just too much in it that many different factions of our tribe will not agree with certain aspects of it. And the one thing that everyone seems to agree on is that we need a separation of powers. So my position is that we do one at a time, and the most sought after amendment is the separation of powers. So I don't know why we're going to start, throwing the whole Constitution in there right now when it's never worked in the past. So I'm okay with doing it, but I would prefer to do it after we get through the amendment of the separation of powers. And I think that's the only way it's going to work. So we go about it this way. The chances are it's going to fail as a whole, and then we're back to square one, and everything we just did needs to start over. And we're in a time crunch right now because we don't know how the Department of Interior is going to react to the new administration. So I would prefer to get something done for the members, and I would prefer to go with the most, with the one thing that's most likely going to pass, which is the separation of powers.
Okay, Aaron?
Okay, so we do not have the votes on this board to put forward the draft, the original draft from 05, which was basically reviewed and supported in 2012 and supported by the elders. We do not have the votes to put that forward. Okay, so let's recognize that. We do, I believe, we might have a majority of the votes, with the chairman gets a vote as well, to vote on the separation of powers, the jurisdiction, and the Bill of Rights. I believe we have a majority of votes, just a majority of votes to pass that. So I don't fault anybody for putting this on, because I think it's a cautious, deliberative sort of effort in the intent and what we just heard. But I do think that we should motion to table tonight to Friday. And if we, for some magical reason, we get through it on Friday, and we have, I think, 7 hours scheduled on Friday, maybe 6 if there's a lunch break. We might get through it, because I don't think it's all that complicated. And if we do, then we should bring this back to the table on Friday, because then we can ask the Secretary of Interior for a review of what we end up with on Friday. And if we don't refer it to Friday, table it to Friday, or refer it to Friday, then you're going to need 9 votes to add it on Friday, and I don't think we have 9 votes to add it on Friday. Oh, we don't have a meeting on Friday, okay.
It's a workshop, but we're going to have a meeting on the 17th. We're going to amend the board calendar.
Okay, so as far as Interior, okay, so the lay of the land is this. All the political appointees on January 5th have to tender their resignations, and it's up to the incoming president to decide whether to accept them. So Deb Holland will be tendering a resignation on January 5th or earlier. Brian Newland will be submitting his as well. The solicitor will be submitting his. So all of the deciders in Interior on January 5th will no longer be in a position to move anything forward. And so it would be in our best interest to have something go in front of the Interior Secretary before we're done with our meetings this year in 2024. Now, if we don't, what will happen, if we delay this into January of next year, especially after January 5th, then what's likely to happen is the new incoming secretary has to be ratified by the Senate, advise and consent. And then they are going to put in place all of the positions that they're going to need. Nothing is going to move, and Kim will know this because she worked in the BIA, nothing will move for at least 6 months in Interior. And so if we don't do something, which it seems like we're agreeable to do the separation of powers now, if we unnecessarily delay this, it won't even be reviewed until after, say, July of 2025. So that's the timing of it. So I think maybe the amendment tonight could be that we motion to ask for the review, and Kim's right, that they automatically do it, but if it satisfies the board, we ask for the review after we have completed what we're willing to put forward in front of the secretary after Friday's meeting.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. Anyone else? Rob?
I just forgot to pull my hand down.
Okay. Isaac?
I guess I gotta say I disagree. I mean, we had elder committees and we asked them for a task to take a look at the Constitution. They recommend that we go through with the whole entire Constitution. And I think this is a great time. You say we don't have enough support on the board. Well, then let's see what the support is. I mean, this is a one and only chance that we'll probably ever have to do the Constitution, and I think we go for it. I mean, I think this board is progressive enough to put their differences aside and push forward. It's been done. Everybody here said it's a great document. It's been well done. It's been well written. It's been well thought of. I mean, we're talking 17, 18 years going on, and let's move forward with the whole entire document.
Kim? Hampton?
So that is exactly what my intent was with this resolution, is exactly what Isaac said. We have a constitution that we tasked our elder advisory committee to go ahead, figure out if it's good. They approve it. And like Aaron Payment said, we do have, I mean, I know he's said it so many times, we had transitioning of, staffing within the federal government, the US government. It is true though. And I am afraid that if we don't do something right now, we are not going to be able to. I think we really have some things to be concerned about, and everything Isaac said is exactly why I put it on. So thanks.
Okay, Rob?
So I'm not sure how much of you have actually read the new Constitution, and I'm not going to name names here, but one of the people that is sponsoring this had literally told me this will never pass, and to look at another tribes, there's only 12 pages of it, and it's unnecessary, but now it's being sponsored. Kind of peculiar that it happened after I presented an amendment that almost all of the tribe agrees with, that is most likely going to pass. So I'm not sure if you guys realize the redistricting that happens within the new Constitution. If you agree with that, there's going to be a Unit 6. It really is a take it all or get none approach. And I think you're going to realize that the members are going to say that you get none, because they're not going to agree to everything that's in that document without voting on it individually. It's just too divisive. There's many things in it that people are not going to agree with. Look at the membership ordinance. You're not giving members a chance to individually vote on membership. That's wrong. It really is wrong to package it as you're going to take it all or get none. And you guys are going to see, you go down this road, you're going to get none. I guarantee it.
Okay, Lana, then Aaron?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, but I completely agree with Rob on this one. I've been down this road before, and the entire document, even though when we put it in front of us before, I supported it going out and as is. But where we're at right now, with the meeting that is coming on Friday, with it being narrowed down to amendments, and those amendments have been prioritized by us, by the membership, and we've had input from the Elderly Advisory Committee now. I think, as in Schleober had just said, what we should ask as the technical review be what we're actually working on, and that's what we would be working on Friday. So I don't think, and I don't want to speak for the people, but I think it's too complex and there's too many things in the dynamics right now that the entire thing, going back to that would not be good. So I would hope that we would do what's recommended, and that's what the amendments that we are going to be working on, focusing on, and sending that for a technical review to get ahead of the game.
Aaron?
So, all right, here's what I think, and I won't look at anybody, I won't name any names. I think that, here's where the rubber meets the road, right? We had a process in 2005 through 7. We had a process in 2012. We have the elders' endorsement of it as is. So I am a vote in favor of putting the entire document out for a vote. I'm in favor of that. But I count 4 absolute no votes on anything that we do. I'm not looking in any directions or pointing anybody out. There will be 4 votes on anything that we propose. That's my prediction. I think there's 4 yes votes on it, the whole document going out. I think there's 4 that are, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they will vote for that. I think there are maybe 3 of those 4 that will vote on the amendments as Rob has proposed. So the calculation is the most likely thing to pass is the separation of powers and the jurisdiction and the Bill of Rights. That, I think we have 7 votes for that to pass. So assuming we're not playing games to try to filibuster or to try to create a situation where we're going to put something out that a majority won't vote for or a majority of the memberships won't vote for. I do think a majority of the membership will vote and approve the full draft has been in front of us for 17, 18 years. I do think they will vote for that. And I know one of the key issues in all of this is the Mackinac Band issue, but they are currently enrolled members, and the secretary will ask the tribe for a list of members. They will conduct a voter registration from that list. That includes the existing members, which is Mackinac Band. So that proposal will pass because the majority of the membership, according to, I don't know if Julie's here, but at a public meeting, is now Mackinac Band descendant. So that amendment will pass. There might be some people that won't support it, and I know one of my supporters is going to hate me tonight after saying this, but I do think that will pass. But it's got to be voted on by this board before the membership gets to vote on it, and I don't think we have a majority of votes to put the entire draft constitution out for a vote. So I don't want to play any games. I think we do have the votes to put out the critical trajectory, which is the separation of powers, jurisdiction, and the Bill of Rights. As a member, if I know that this board's not going to vote on the full draft, I at least want the Bill of Rights passed so that I have standing in tribal court as a citizen to file a cause of action. That is something we currently don't have, and is something as citizens of this tribe we should all be demanding and not have any delay for any reason. We should all have basic civil rights as citizens of this tribe that you currently do not have. Okay, so that's my argument. So I'm all for the whole thing, but I don't think we have the votes to pass that. So then the next best is the separation of powers. I do think we have maybe 7 votes to pass, maybe 8 votes to pass that.
Okay, any more discussion on this? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to new business. First item under that is disenrollments. Do we have Julie here? Okay, so she covered this with us just about an hour ago. So 3 people are eligible for disenrollments. I think that a couple of them are enrolled in multiple tribes, and if you're an adult, you can only be enrolled in one federally recognized tribe in this country. So they're pretty non-controversial. Under that, we have 2024 board calendar amendment. We want to amend the board calendar to allow us to meet on December 17th because there's some last minute items that we need to vote on before the end of the year. We have the approval of the calendar from 2025. Any discussion there? Okay, and then we have.
Oh, sorry, Bridget looked like she was putting her hand up.
Well,
Yes,
whether
Mr.
it's here or there, I guess it doesn't matter, but we have probably more time right now. My only concern is going to be that Detroit meeting for several reasons. If we're looking at a huge budget deficit next year, that trip probably cost $10,000 this year. I don't know if we got the exact numbers with the per diem and the rooms and whether Detroit's the place to go back to. I just think that now we have Zoom available, everybody can get on. I don't know how much was spent on postcards to everybody. I just think when we're looking at a deficit, that's one thing that we could cut a huge expense on.
Okay, any questions, comments on that? So respectfully, I would disagree because in the Detroit metro area, you have more members in some units. So those people were really appreciative of us having that meeting there, and I would like that to be an annual meeting. Moving forward, if we want to save costs, we can. We can stay at less expensive hotels and we can carpool. And we can drive motor pool vehicles, so we're not getting personal gas reimbursements as well. Anything else? Okay, go ahead.
I would just ask if we could switch the August 19th Hessel meeting to the November 18th Sault Ste. Marie meeting, only because the cooks down there normally liked having it around hunting season, and their little soup dishes and stuff. You can have a contest.
No objection from me. Everyone cool with that?
November 18th.
Yep.
Yeah, swap it.
So when you guys do the vote on it, you'll just, without objection?
I'll ask to switch around.
Yeah, she'll do the amendment. All right, so that leaves key employee. This is an employee matter, and we're going to discuss it in closed right now.
The one that we wanted to add. Megan
Oh,
is here for
okay.
that.
Yeah, Megan.
This is the actual, yes.
So ACFS wants to add a resolution to tonight's agenda. We'll have Megan explain it, and then I'll find out whether or not there's support to waive the rules to add it to tonight's agenda. So whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, Megan Miller, Direct Services Program Director for ACFS. What I have here is a resolution that allows us to offer a contract to Intertribal Software, Inc. To develop, train our staff on a direct services informational database. It was an ARPA-approved project. We used the RFP process. We did receive 2 proposals. One was absolutely astronomical and out of our approved budget range. We did have some consultation with IT staff. One of them had actually been in a conference where this vendor had a demo. They feel that this will meet our needs. The database we're currently used was a formally developed, MIS staff developed it, put it in place in 1996. It's cumbersome, it's not user-friendly. Everything keys off the social security number. And really, as far as support in it, we have 2 people at IT that actually understand and are able to manipulate it, add modules, that kind of thing. So this will just allow us to offer that contract. As the ARPA project, we need to get it under contract by the 31st of December.
So you received 2 bids?
Yes.
So I would encourage everyone to look through this packet because the vendor that we're selecting is several $100,000 cheaper, so it's a no-brainer to go with that vendor.
Is it in our packet?
It is, yep.
Yeah.
We're adding it? Or-
Yeah, it's, okay. Any questions, comments, guys? So you have my support. It seems affordable and it'd be a good thing for us. So let's go into close for the last item.
I had circulated from our conversation earlier, I'm not sure if it's needed now, though, but if we're going to have another meeting, but the motion to add an item to the agenda tonight takes 9 votes, and that is to allow for